Although independent journalists and those recognized by the government have many different opinions, there's still a lot of confusion surrounding the Affordable Care Act. Penn State's bi-monthly Board of Trustees meeting is set for this afternoon. We begin with winter weather, another storm on the way to Centre County just in time for the weekend. Travis Patterson is live outside Innovation Park with the latest on what we can expect. I'm in the Daily Collegian office in downtown State College. Coming up next for the Centre County Report, I take a look into the controversy surrounding journalism in Cuba. Tomorrow's football game against Nebraska will be the final game played at Beaver Stadium this season. Part of Centre County will be under a winter storm warning starting at 5 p.m. And while the community is hopeful for just one more summer of movies, wow, what an emotional story.
Really inspiring story.
Route 322 is clear today after a serious 3-car crash left 3 women injured. It happened just south of Phillipsburg in Rush Township yesterday. Since our recent visit to Tussey Mountain, the new snow machines are officially up and running. Alex and members of Nittany Lions for Concealed Carry on campus plan to start small. Penn State is renowned for its turf grass management program. Interns who have worked on Beaver Stadium. Coach Rose continues to move up the NCAA Division I wins list. State College police are investigating a series of burglaries in student apartments. National Mental Health Awareness Week ends tomorrow. With the holidays here, local tree farms are finally getting their payday for a year-long effort. And for breaking news, follow us on Twitter at Centre County REP and on Facebook. Thanks for watching and have a great day. In the United States, our open access to the internet, TV, and newspapers provides many people the opportunity to keep themselves up to date on news and share what they feel is important with others. But just 90 miles off the coast of Florida, Cubans who share the wrong information could lose their freedom.
If we say, long live Fidel, long live Raul, long live the government, that's legal. But if we say the opposite, then it's illegal.
Egberto Escobedo Morales calls himself an independent journalist, but reporting in Cuba can be dangerous. Recently, an independent, international, nonprofit organization called the Human Rights Watch released its annual report on Cuba, which says the government controls all media outlets in Cuba and tightly restricts access to outside information, severely limiting the right to freedom of expression. That's why Cuban independent journalists are pushing for change. As a result, Jose Rolando Casares Sotos says he's been labeled a political dissident by the government.
We didn't write anything that wasn't the truth, but from that moment on you were called a dissident of the revolution, supposedly. The government got stuck, stalled, 50 years ago, and the independent journalists have the chore of being the voice of the Cuban people that cannot demand their rights.
The Human Rights Watch report also states those who publish information considered critical of the government are sometimes subject to smear campaigns, attacks, and arbitrary arrests.
For this bulletin that brings news about Cuba, if they want right now, they could handcuff us, put us in jail, and say it's enemy propaganda. Enemies. Boom. Behind bars. They lock us up. 1, 2 years in jail for writing this bulletin.
Jose says he spent about a year incarcerated, but he had it easy compared to Egberto, who says he spent more than 15 years in prison.
Cuban prisons are filled with torture, hunger, needs, abuse, all kinds of violations. I went through several prisons in Cuba only for claiming and demanding my rights and fighting for a different Cuba.
Both men say what they write is the truth about their country, but reporting in Cuba is complicated. They say even this conversation could put them back behind bars.
This conversation is illegal. The things that positively reflect the government are legal. But if we say, no, there are diseases, there is hunger, there are needs, there's no electricity, then that's illegal. It's censorship.
But official journalists who work for the government or party news media disagree. Matilde Salas was a state-recognized journalist in Cuba for 47 years. Now retired, she says she was never censored.
I haven't found that the government has said no to this and yes to that. I have been able to go forward with reporting because I have tried to get to the bottom of what I'm writing about.
Jessica Castro, a journalism student at the University of Havana, believes everyone should have the freedom to voice their opinions, but fears some calling themselves independent might not be sincere.
Not everyone that declares himself as an independent journalist is an independent journalist. Many times, they aren't even journalists. They are people that have other objectives, and journalism is a convenient way of hiding what they're actually doing.
In fact, some of the journalists calling themselves independent admit they receive financial support from the U.S. and other countries.
This government wants to tell the world that we are mercenaries. We are not mercenaries. We exist independent from the help of foreign countries. If they help us, that's very good. But if they don't help us, we keep fighting.
Many see state-recognized journalists as the voice of the government, and independents as working for an anti-Cuban foreign agenda, which leaves many Cubans asking who they can trust.
In Cuba, journalism has a political twist. For example, there are newspapers where they write many things that really don't matter. Things that are happening in Syria and Venezuela, things that are convenient, but they don't really write about what is happening inside the country.
Jose says that's why he's willing to risk his freedom for this grassroots movement, which aims to allow Cubans to tell their own stories and have their voices heard by the rest of the world.
The difference between an independent journalist and a government journalist is that government journalists are aware that they are writing lies, that they are writing propaganda. I write the truth. When you write the truth, for example, if you write about something that wasn't in the government press, that gives you a little bit of prestige in society. There are many people that say, hey, this is true, it happened here, and it wasn't in the newspaper because it is not government propaganda.
Although independent journalists and those recognized by the government have many different opinions, they both believe the press is very important for the future of Cuba. So important that Jose plans to travel to Miami to take journalism courses.
This trip is going to cause a lot of problems for me. On this trip, I am going to prepare to be a better journalist. I'm going to learn many things that I don't know and that I've never been able to know because of the wall that exists in Cuba.
A wall independent journalists claim denies Cubans free speech, one Jose hopes to break down.
I know that when I come back, I'll have better tools for work, but I'll have even more pressure from the security forces. I'm very scared, but in reality, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? It seems like when we're born, we're injected with a virus of fear. But we have to find the antidote, and the antidote for that virus is us, the journalists.
According to the Constitution of the Republic of Cuba, citizens do have the right to freedom of speech and of the press, as long as they uphold the aims and objectives of the party. The Affordable Care Act has been the cause of a lot of confusion since it launched on Tuesday.
I don't really know anything about it.
I'm not going to lie, I'm not that informed about that.
But Dr. Jonathan Clark is informed. He's been studying health policy administration for years.
Think of the Affordable Care Act as health insurance reform as opposed to health care reform.
So what's the problem?
You know, there's a lot of anxiety.
Enough anxiety to divide Congress, propelling them into the first government shutdown in nearly 2 decades.
There are lots of issues that in the healthcare industry that the law does not address.
Annie Harris has insurance, but says Obamacare doesn't address the real issues in healthcare. She's been living with cerebral palsy.
They had the right idea. Thinking of implementation as it was not thought out appropriately.
She's upset that Obamacare doesn't require physicians to provide care to people with government insurance, like those with disabilities. There's still a lot of confusion surrounding the Affordable Care Act, including how it will affect people who live here in Centre County and what impact it will have on places like Mount Nittany Medical Center. Jonathan says only time will tell the amount of influence Obamacare will have.
I think we need to let this play out.
I'm Rachel White for the Centre County Report. The Moonlight Theater is a place where you can drive in and take a step back in time.
Sitting under the stars, watching the stars.
Meet the man behind the movie.
I brought it back, redid it, rewired it, repainted, repaired everything, and reopened a drive-in theater for all to enjoy.
And for 32 years, preserving this old-school theater has been his passion.
I don't know anything else. This is my life. This is what I do each and every day.
Now, Jim's Drive-In is in danger.
I've watched over my 32 years many drive-in theaters close.
And his could be next. With the film industry threatening to go strictly digital, he could be forced to close his slice of the past.
Well, the problem for us going to digital is it's over $85,000 for us to put a digital projector in.
And that's money Jim and most drive-in theaters don't have.
If it wasn't that I enjoyed doing it, we wouldn't be here. It's not about getting rich.
The same philosophy goes for Donetta, an employee who commutes more than an hour because she loves the drive-in experience.
I hope it stays open. I really do. For his sake, too.
There's nothing better than bringing the family together and offering them the entertainment that we do each and every night.
So what will Jim and Donetta do if the Moonlight Theater closes?
I don't know what I'll do then. I'll be lost.
The community of Brookville feels the same.
If this theater were to close, it really would take out a unique aspect to the town.
The theater, he says, makes Brookville stand out.
This is part of American history. It's very unique.
They all hope the theater will stay open for years to come.
I've been dedicated to this business for 32 years, and I hope to be dedicated to it for another 32 years.
And while the community is hopeful for just one more summer of movies, Jim LaPuma is looking forward to the next 32. In Brookville, I'm Rachel White for the Center County Report.
He's incredibly demanding to work for, but the great ones are.
Assistant coach Steve Aird has known Russ Rose for more than 15 years.
The reason Penn State volleyball has been so good is that the school and the community has allowed him to be him.
Rose agrees.
I think I was very fortunate that I had Tim Curley as my athletic director for as long as I did, and Dr. Spanier, because I think the greatest years that we had in women's volleyball was with their leadership. Most important, they allowed me to be who I am.
And what he is a no-nonsense guy. He's incredibly charismatic. He cares about his players a ton, but he demands the most from them.
That's the essence of coaching and teaching, is trying to get people to do things that at the start of the day they don't really want to do.
He's demanding, but he's built hundreds of lifelong relationships along the way.
When I look at the pictures and I look at the people, I look at what I said to them when they were being recruited, and I look at the relationships that I have with some of them now.
But coaching champions for 35 years comes with a steep price.
I missed seeing all 4 of my children grow up, but I think if I would have done that, we wouldn't have had the success, because I was the only one that's always cared for 35 years. I spent the last 35 years with other people's children.
And many are grateful for his sacrifice.
No matter what he would get into, I think he would be exceptional at it. He just happens to be a hell of a volleyball coach.
Coach Rose continues to move up the NCAA Division I wins list. He sits in second with over 1,100 wins, just behind Dave Shoji of Hawaii. Reporting from Rec Hall, I'm Rachel White for the Center County Report.